For now, let's talk about you. You. What are you looking for? What age Filipina or Asian woman is really right for your long-term success? Married with children, it's a lot of responsibility. The Philippines, it's Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao, overlooking the Cagayan de Oro River Valley. Join me for sunrise this morning and let's talk about married with children. You really need to know yourself and you need to know exactly what you're looking for. What type of woman, what age. We've talked about before, there's an axiom of what's allowed in polite society. It's half your age plus 7. If you're 60 years old, you can come home with a 37-year-old woman, bring her to any social setting, Europe, America, and she will be accepted. I was 66 when I met Chrissy, and she was 29, and we violated that norm. There's a 37-year age gap. Chrissy's a college-educated school teacher. Her English is really good. That was really important to me, to find somebody who I could enjoy conversation, someone who we could talk if we went on a long car ride. Maybe we wouldn't turn on the radio, we would enjoy each other's company. How do you find these women, and what are the likelihoods that they're still married with the difficulty of getting a divorce or an annulment? There is no divorce in the Philippines. The title of our video is Married with Children, because the likelihood of the woman you find is still married or has a child. Now, when I started out, I kind of hoped I might find somebody who didn't have a child, but I didn't think I wanted to get a 20-year-old or a 23-year-old or even a 25-year-old. I didn't think that was going to be accepted by my kids and my family and their acceptance, and trying to put my family back together after making this decision. That was kind of really important to me. And so I decided I wasn't going to pursue somebody in their early 20s or mid 20s, maybe late 20s. Chrissy was 29 when I met her, about to turn 30. She had a 4-year-old son. So she was married with children, although she had a copy of the judge's decision in her annulment. Her husband had been in the Army, and they were technically married only a year before she filed for annulment. These guys in the Army had figured out how to get an attorney who could process an annulment. It would take 3 years and 1 year's salary, but that was underway. I had seen a copy of the judge's decision, but it was still a year until a formal annulment would be possible and until I could get a Cinemar from Manila. And so here we are, 10 months later. We're still a week or two away from getting that Cinemar. It's en route. We're talking about a wedding later this year. And what about the child? When I first came and met Chrissy's family in Cagayan de Oro, about 5 hours north of Chrissy's home, and she brought her son, and he came to the party and drank about 20 Coca-Colas and ate 5 or 10 handfuls of cake and ran around like the Tasmanian devil. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be difficult possibly. You know, I have 2 boys and a girl, and I was never, ever happier than when I was a father. So my thought was, you know, I could do raising a child. Maybe a girl would be easier, but, you know, 4-year-old was a good age. You could bond with a 4-year-old, give him a lot of opportunity, and, you know, I was all for it. But the first time we met, he was a little wild, and I wasn't sure what I was getting into. Roll forward a month later, he came for another visit with his grandparents, and he was being babied by his grandparents. They were spoon feeding him. He would sleep in the grandparents' bedroom when he came to visit. And I wasn't sure how I was going to introduce, you know, kind of my Western values of fathering, the way I raised my sons. And I was probably a little bit strict with them. They grew up to be college athletes, swimmers, scholarship swimmers, and I was like a helicopter dad. And at this point in my life, I'm not going to be a helicopter dad or a helicopter grandfather anymore. Check out that sunset coming over the ridge. Unbelievable. So, yeah, just by the way, if you're new to the channel, that's the pool complex right here. There's the pool behind us, and then I'm renting this property right here. It's maybe like 30 meters to this scenic overlook. We made a decision that he would go to kindergarten and stay with the husband's parents about 5 hours south of here. It's only a $10 bus ride away, so Chrissy could run home and see the child, or her parents could bring the child to visit. So we've had the child come and visit with us a few times. We went down to Pagadian to visit the child, and I've tried to slowly integrate the child into our lives. He's actually a pretty good kid. It just took a second or third visit for me to kind of realize that. He's an only child, but he's being raised around a large extended family, and he's quite used to spending a week or 2 weeks with his grandparents, another 2 weeks with his uncles and his grandmother, a week with Chrissy, back with his grandparents. He's smart, he's super athletic, he's got like a stomach like a lizard, lean and amazing balance. He's can ride a bicycle. We just bought him a new one with training wheels because that's the way it came, but he can ride the bike already at 4 and 11 months now. And he just spent a week with us. Actually, last month he came and we picked him up and we brought him by himself, and we experimented with just him and Chrissy and I. And the first day and a half, was a little bit rough as he adjusted, but it turned out we had a great visit. He's just a really sweet kid. He listens, he's well-mannered, he speaks some English and more Cebuano or Visayan than English. I'm learning a little bit of Visayan Cebuano because I want to know what he's saying. But then we brought him up last week with his grandparents, Chrissy's father and his father's significant other. And that was a really great experience. And we made the decision that we're going to bring him up full time when his kindergarten class ends in May. So we're going to be married with children later this year. If you're following the channel, that's a big announcement. We don't have the date set yet. We need the paperwork still from Manila. We filed for it last week. We're thinking 6 months roughly from now. We're going to get married. CJ is going to come and move in about 60 days. And we're thinking about having Chrissy's father and his girlfriend move in also. We have a 4-bedroom, 4-bath home. It's just the two of us right now. But this property here is 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. There's a maid's quarters downstairs with a bath and a bedroom and a large laundry room. Upstairs we have 2 bedrooms and a full bath. We have a second living room upstairs. It's a pretty big house, and it's way more than we need. Kindergarten, a private kindergarten, about 2 kilometers down the road. It's like $1,100 US roughly. Chrissy and I work at this YouTube channel, and it can be something that takes many hours a week. And then we've started to get into an expat circuit where we're golfing once a week. We'll be at the beach next. We like to go to right behind me is this amazing swim complex. I think it's hard to see right now, but like right here and over, like right up here, it's a crazy view property, swim complex. It only costs like $4 during the week to swim if you have transportation. There's a nice restaurant. The expats like to get together there once a month. We are going to need some help to help clean the house and do some of the chores and be available to take the child to school, bring them home if we're away, or if we're at the beach, or if we're golfing. So we're going to try to work that out, and there'll be more on that later. But for now, let's talk about you. What are you looking for? Are you willing to have a new family? Let me tell you something that you don't often see on these YouTube channels. Many of the expats here that I've met now, not the first month, not the first 3 months, now that I'm settled in, I've started to meet some real quality expat buddies, people I feel common cause with. More often than not, they have either a new family or a Filipino family living with them, and some extended family often as well. They're not on the $1,000, $800 budget. They're not on the $1,500 budget. They're more like on the $2,500 to $5,000 budget. they have SUVs, they get around, they go around, they eat out, they own houses, they own farm properties up in the hills sometimes too. They are living their best life, and they either have young children or their Filipina has had children from a previous relationship. The chances of you meeting a Filipina 30 years old who doesn't have a child or isn't actually married, this is a big problem. It's against the law to cohabitate and sleep with a married woman. There's no divorce in the Philippines. Most of these women did not get an annulment like Chrissy. It's a year's salary for a policeman to get the annulment, and many judges in many parts of the Philippines, it's crazy impossible. There's stories of people who've paid their year's salary, and then the case gets assigned to one particular judge who in his 30-year history never granted an annulment, so he just paid for nothing. But it's becoming more common, and there are more judges willing to process the annulment, more lawyers that can make it happen. Chrissy got lucky. You need to check when you're dating online. You need to find out if she's married, because if not, you're the one who's going to pay for the annulment. It's going to take 3 years. You're going to have family members who see that you're willing to pay for an annulment. You got money to spend on things that you shouldn't have to pay for, and that could create other problems. Now, if you want to find a woman who meets that formula, if you want to find a woman who's, half your age plus 7, highly educated with no children, Asian, you may need to go to Malaysia. Malaysia has an ethnic Chinese population. A lot of the, maybe 10, 15, 20% even in some parts of Malaysia, highly educated English speaking, the type who defer marriage, go get graduate degrees, and you can find women in their early 30s who have no children and who are highly educated. They're kind of holding out Western style for that perfect man. So that may be where you'll find them. Finding somebody who's a nurse or a teacher with no children here in the Philippines, very, very, very challenging. So you need to know that ahead of time. You need to be prepared for possibly alienating your own children when you start to manage and pay for and be responsible and start to be father to another family. It's not just shocking that dad left and is dating somebody in their 20s, but now she has 1 or 2 or 3 children, and possibly from multiple fathers. So is that okay with you? Will she even tell you that she has a child until you arrive or until a few years later? Many of the girls are taking care of babies and they claim that they're not theirs. They claim that they're the sisters, the aunties, a disadvantaged relative left the baby with the family, and they're staying home while their mother runs a sorry store and they're taking care of the baby. You don't really know what the truth is. So many expats here who are living their best lives either start new families. The number that start new families is really, really higher than you would think. It's really kind of shocking. And they seem so happy. You meet people who've never had children and they're really happy to start a family. You meet people who've had lots and lots of children, but the Filipina is so desirous of a mestizo baby. They go along with it. They're in love and they go along with it. Now, what are you looking for? What is it that you're going to do? Married with children, it's a lot of responsibility. And what age Filipina or Asian woman is really right for your long-term success? Are you healthy enough to chase after a Filipino boy or have 2 Filipino girls, birthday parties, back and forth to private school? I know expats, they spend the majority of their time dropping off and picking up at private school every day. 2 trips in the morning, there and back, 2 trips in the afternoon, there and back. And, you have to take care of kids. You got to feed them. You got to, parent them. It's a big responsibility. A lot of us feel like, we're done with that. Like I said, I was a crazy helicopter parent. I was dropping off at the pool at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and picking up at the pool at 7 right before dinner and going to swim meets. And I was really into parenting, and here I am. I'm going to do it again. The kid is really well adjusted, happy, fit, pleasant, but I don't really want to be doing it alone. So we're going to either get a yaya who can live in the quarters downstairs for about $140 a month. You can get a nanny. But we may have Chrissy's father and his quote unquote wife move into the house and help with the cleaning and the dishes and help with the kid. You know, there's this thing here in the Philippines which you need to understand. Children don't sleep alone. It would be considered shocking and traumatic to make the child sleep alone. I know people that have all of their children sleeping in the parents' bedroom. So it's very, very shocking and uncommon for a Filipina child to sleep alone. And your Filipina may not want to be seen as the type of person who would force that trauma on their child. And I'm not interested in having 3 people in the master bedroom. That's probably a compromise I'm not willing to take. So the only solution to that is, you know, I could force Chrissy to, you know, traumatize the child in her mind. I don't think it's much trauma at all, but in her mind, it's traumatic. When he came to visit for a week by himself, we put a mattress in our master bedroom. He slept on the floor. But when the grandparents came, he slept upstairs in their bedroom, and he was happy as can be. Everybody was happy. It was nice to have extra hands, extra adults to take care of the child. And I think that may be the best long-term solution. So this episode we call Married with Children. Stay tuned. You may have a family invasion episode coming. So what are you looking for? Is it a single Filipina who you're going to ask to have no children? Will she say yes today and change her mind tomorrow? Is that really smart? Or will she say yes today, and will she be convinced that she can change your mind tomorrow? Which is it going to be? I think that's a horrible idea. These Filipino women, asking a woman to grow up in the Philippines with no children, come back to America and not have children, stay here in the Philippines and not have children. I think more likely than not, she's going to date you for 2 years and tell you it's okay, she can handle it, and then 2 years later she's going to tell you, hey, she's got to have kids, she's not interested, she wants children. So she'll either put a pin in the condom, or she'll just tell you she changed her mind. On the other hand, if she already has children, is she still married? You have to deal with that. Can you raise children? Are there multiple parents? You know, the downside of this is when you accept a woman with children, you're going to have another problem. The father may still be in the picture. He might have visitation rights. He might want to come take the child for 2 weeks, and when the child comes back, hopefully they're not smoking cigarettes and using swear words. Hopefully all the discipline that you've instilled, and maybe you're ex-military and you think, not a problem, I can bring any child into shape. Yeah, but what the problem is, they go away for a month on vacation and they come back a different person. They've had, you know, younger friends that are drinking or smoking or who knows what when they're older, and when they're young they learn to be disrespectful possibly. And then there's grandparents of the child that want visitation. They want that child to be with them. Who knows if they're asking for money, if they, you know, they want only cooperate if money's exchanged. Who knows if they become jealous that their ex is dating a Westerner and living in a property subdivision like this one here. Will they behave? Will they be kind? Will they do what's in the child's best interest? Will they want to be paid back for the annulment that they gave up a year's salary for? You're on the picture and, you know, well, we're not going to send the child back. You're going to have to fight us in court. We're going to keep the child because you're dating a Westerner with means. For a couple 20,000 pesos, sure, we'll just release the child. You know, you're in town, you traveled 5 hours to pick him up, and maybe we're just not going to let you have him back. Go get the police involved. You could have all kinds of problems. And the child may be living with the grandparents or with a brother or sister, and they may not want to give him up, and you might have to go through legal measures to get possession of the child, even though in the Philippines, possession is automatically granted to the mother, and she's got a very strong legal case. So what does your future look like? Is it married with children? I'm here in Mindanao I'm up at the waterfalls one day, I'm up in Manila Fortiche another day golfing, I'm at Ultra Winds somewhere right here behind me, swimming with the expats another day, making YouTubes. I'm 12 hours in the editing suite. You know, I've got a life that I want to maintain, and I want to either have a nanny come and live with the house or have the grandparents come live in the house. And fortunately, the home is big enough, and it should accommodate that future life. And you'll see more of us as a family. We bought a bicycle last week, and we can have we have this little rotary here that he can drive around in a circle and be safe. We're in a guard-gated community. There's a 4-year-old, 5-year-old boy. He's going to turn 5 next month. There's a 5-year-old right across the street with an American father, and yeah, so we think it's going to be a great life. We think I will still be living my best life, but stay tuned. You know, there'll be trials and tribulations of having a child in the house while we're attempting to work at YouTube. You know, YouTube initially, the first month, we were making 6 videos a week. Chrissy got mononucleosis. It was brutal. It's gotten easier. You might work 20 hours on one video, you might work 2 hours on one video, but on average, it's sort of like having a full-time job. Fortunately, Chrissy and I are quite passionate about it. We're enjoying this journey. We're about to hit 10,000 subscribers. Hopefully you'll subscribe. You could be the 10,000th or help us get to that goal. This is our 8th month of making YouTube, and we're really happy with the success that we've had, and looking forward to sharing more with you about life in the Philippines. Going forward, it's going to be life married with children. Until next time, from Fly Me to the Philippines.